So once we've rolled out Mimecast to your environment, you're going to want to sign into the plugin. So the first thing you're going to notice is once the plugin is installed to your computer, you're going to see a little Mimecast thing up here. If you're not already signed in, you can go down to your taskbar, click the little arrow to expand it, right-click on Mimecast, and you're going to click on Authentication Settings. From there, you're going to get a screen. If you're already signed in, your name is going to appear on the top left. If you're not signed in, you're going to get a prompt that appears. In order to make sure that you're able to sign in successfully, the first thing you want to do is actually maximize this, because the way the authentication window loads, part of it is actually going to be obscured. So once you're signed in here, you're going to notice this is your normal Outlook. When you're receiving email, you'll be able to just right-click on any email that you receive, and you'll be able to report any emails through here. So this will be the spam, this will be the blocked sender, and if any messages appear in your Mimecast and they're not supposed to be uh, if they're not supposed to be marked as spam, you can actually expand Mimecast by right-clicking here, open Mimecast for, and then in here you'll actually see all of the messages coming in. So if anything is being sorted by any of your folders and you're not aware of it, this is a good way to catch it. On top of that, you'll be able to click on hold, and you'll be able to review your personal on hold messages. So this is messages that may have sales pitches and things like that. Those would be triggered. So if you want to release that message, you can just click on the message, and up here just hit release. A moment or so after you release it, you'll be informed that Mimecast has released the message, and within a minute or so, you should start to see it come in um, through your normal mailbox. Now, if you are working at a company that has decided not to use Mimecast on hold feature, those same messages that you're looking for will show up in your junk mailbox. So this is another way to accomplish the same thing. You will receive one or the other, not both. So if your messages are going straight to the junk mailbox and you want to release them, you'll just see the message here. When you right-click into the message, you can just say move to mailbox. And then you will see the same message again, just show up into your mailbox. It was showing up a little earlier. One of the other things you may notice is in Mimecast, you have the option to send various messages. You can attach large files, request large files, and so on. Depending on the functionality that your company has decided to use, you can generate messages this way. So if you hit new email and you type in new email to, let's say, for example, one of my colleagues here, and then I click on the Mimecast plugin and I want to send him a large file. So what I can do is I can hit attach large file. In here, I can select the file in question, and once I've selected it, it will actually load the file through Mimecast. So it looks like it's attached, but it's actually going to go through Mimecast, and he's just going to get a link for this file. Another option I have in here is instead of just sending the large file, I can actually send a message securely. So if I uncheck this box and say, yes, I want to remove all large files, I can actually send a secure test message. So test secure mail send. Okay, so in here, let's say I have something secure, and then I want to send this securely. So my options are I can send it to all recipients or external recipients. Now, if I send this message securely, what's going to happen is the message itself will actually be obscured, and he will not be able to retrieve it. So just to see what that looks like, let's include myself on this same message, and we're going to send it securely. And once that message is sent, let's see when we receive that. And here is my message, and this is what it looks like. Obviously, I'm able to see it because it's myself. Let's do a message sent to a recipient outside. So I'll send it to, send it to my personal email, and I'll send it as secure email send. And in here, let's do securely all recipients testing secure mail send. And so now, open that up. So here we have the message that we received in Gmail. So you can see that it doesn't come from the sender. It says Postmaster Atlas Consulting, right? So it's being filtered out. If I want to see the message, I will actually click here, and then it's going to ask me to create an account. So if I pop in my email address in here, it's going to ask me if I have an account. If I don't have an account, it's going to ask me to register. If I do have an account, it's going to ask me to sign in. Now, I have an account, don't remember the password offhand, but this is what it looks like. So give me just a moment. I'm going to get logged in here and we'll resume the video. So I've actually had to submit a request to reset the password. So I'm going to walk you through the reset process. So I've received the request to reset the password. So I'm going to click here and we'll just generate something secure as a test. So here's our password. Oh, that's interesting. So didn't like that first password. Here we go. Confirming and put in that email address one more time. And then once we're in here, this is me signing in with my personal email, and I can see all of the messages that were sent to it. So in this case, here we go, testing, and here's the message that I received. So as you can see, this is very easy to use from the end user perspective, from whoever you're sending it to. The message looks exactly as it did when I sent it, but this is what they actually saw when we, but this is what they actually see until they authenticate, right? So in the event that this email would be compromised, there is a layer of protection sitting between the normal email that they're using and the secure email. Now, one of the common requests that we get is what happens if I'm working remotely and I don't have this particular plugin installed on my personal machine. So one of the things you can do, obviously you can install the plugin on any personal machine that you'd like, but if you don't have the plugin installed and you want to just work remotely, you can always go to what's called the Mimecast Personal Portal. Now, in our case, we have it integrated into our single sign-on solution, so we just click one button and we wind up in this portal. For those of you that don't have it, we will provide you the link and we'll provide you with instructions on how to log in based on how your authentication is set up. In our case, we're going to go to personal on hold. And again, you can see that all of the messages that I have on personal on hold, I have the same option to report the email as spam, to release the email, or to reject the email. In this case, I'm going to choose to release the email. And at the same time, I can just release this one message. I can permit the sender, meaning the person that actually sent this email, or I can permit the whole domain, which would actually permit everyone coming from c.constantcontact.com. So instead of just whitelisting this particular address, I'm actually going to permit the whole domain. And this change will not only occur for me, it's going to actually occur for all of my colleagues within my organization. So using something like this, I'm actually able to increase the amount of messages that are coming in without being filtered out in such a way. So one of the things that we did was we took this email that we previously allowed from Mimecast. Now what I'm going to show you is how to actually report this email as spam. So if I right click on this email down here, I have the option to report spam. And these are two different things, right? Reporting phishing will actually mark the email in such a way that they'll actually process it and go through what exactly is the threat. Reporting it as spam just means this is basically unsolicited mail. So in this case, all I'm going to do is mark that message as spam. And what's going to happen is it gets deleted and I get the little green confirmation again, letting me know that it's not there. Now, if we were to go in again into the plugin and try and find that message, now we wouldn't be able to find it. As far as the on hold messages, again, any messages that you are expecting to receive and you're not getting them, if you have it configured with this on hold, just make sure you check here. This is going to be one of the most important pieces in terms of missing mail, whereas previously you had to call the help desk. It's not necessary to call the help desk now. For messages like this, you can get it instantly on your own. Just go into personal on hold, take a look at the message. You can actually review all the contents of the message without even whitelisting it. So you don't have to go in and just select everything and allow it. You can go through individually, look at the individual message. If you don't need it, just disregard it. Everything in here will become auto-purged in several days. Depending on the configuration that you have, it's about a week. arguably the most helpful feature that Mimecast has is something called a message digest. It will actually send you an email to let you know the type of messages that are held in your queue. Now, if you have a message like this, right, this is the same message that we've been playing with previously. It's letting me know that there is a message sitting in the queue. My three options are release, block, or permit. And you can do this whether you're on your normal machine or whether you're on a mobile device or any other machine, you'll get this message exactly the same way. Just clicking this will actually just launch a web browser. Let's click it enough times to actually click. In this case, because we've already processed this message, it's telling me this message may have already been released. So this link is no longer valid. Let's take a look at another example now. This one's older, so I'm actually hoping this fails out so I can show you how that looks. So this is a message that I received on Friday, and let's say I wanted to release this, and it's actually not old enough. What happens is these messages are only alive for 3 days. After 3 days, this message digest doesn't work. So if I was to come back to this on Tuesday, it would actually fail out. Now, one of the things to look out for is while this is a really good message and while this is really helpful, one of the things that we've noticed is hackers are actually targeting this type of setup, and you'll get spam messages that purport to be from Mimecast. Mimecast does a very good job of filtering these spam messages and these phishing attacks. However, if one does get through, it's important that users look out for this. So what you want to do here is just look for a couple of basic things. Number one, you want to make sure that it doesn't just say generic things like your spam filter or something like that. You actually want to look for the words Mimecast. That's going to be a dead giveaway. The second one is you want to see where it's actually coming from. So you want to make sure that it's postmaster at yourdomain.com. So if you work for ABC Company, this would be postmaster at abccompany.com. This wouldn't be, XYZ company, right? The other thing is you want to make sure that it's actually matching your email address and not just some general email. And otherwise, when you mouse over, take a look at the actual link, and you'll see that in there it says https us-api.mimecast.com. And as long as you see that mimecast.com in the beginning and not at the end, you know that you're going to the right link. The fake links would have, instead of showing you the mimecast.com, it would actually write a bunch of mumbo jumbo and then it would say mimecast.com, right? Because it's not actually mimecast.com, it's some other website pretending to be Mimecast. If you have any additional questions that we haven't covered during this brief tutorial, please let our help desk know or your support engineers that are actually setting this up. They'll be able to advise you further.